Good evening all, and welcome back to the Esports World Touring Car Cup. It's round 3 of 6 in this late 2020 season, and we've had 2 full rounds of 6 races already. It's strange to think that we're approaching the halfway mark, and what better way to mark the halfway mark than to travel to a circuit which we've never been before. Motorland Aragon, located in Alcaniz, Spain, opened in 2009. This 5.3 kilometer circuit is one of my personal favorites in the world of motorsport. I am delighted that we're going to be here for the first time. Who am I, of course? So you might not recognize me if you only watched last week. My name is James Kirk, but as always, the ever-present in the box, Mr. Robert Wiesenmüller. Great to have you with us. And what a great championship it has been so far. We've got a slight tweak to the qualifying today that we will go over in due time. But it's a great calendar. Sorry, round 3 of 5, I should say. I'm getting carried away with 6. I wish there was more all the time. But Motorland Aragon, we're here now, the halfway point. What a great circuit this is. I think we're going to get plenty of overtaking, plenty of great side-by-side action.
Hello everyone, hello James. Yes, 6 circuits in the real FIA WTCR, yes. 5 for us here. It's the same track where they raced today in the real championship as well. So hello also to everyone who's usually following the FIA WTCR. This is the esports here, of course. Virtual cars on RaceRoom racing experience, and a really exciting championship for us.
Yeah, it's correct. We have a week break off, essentially, or a couple week break off after this particular round. So very much marking, as we say, the halfway point with a couple of new surprises, a couple of new elements. Something that isn't so new, however, Rob, is the top of the standings, where Gogo and David Nagy still remain after 2 full rounds. Gogo on 122, David Nagy on 109, the 2018 online champion. Bence Bunky still there, keeping them close. Florian Hasser had a much better round, of course, last time out, has launched himself up into P4 in the championship. And so you very much got this Red Bull Racing Esports sandwich. One side of the bread is the Mirror Esports section, the other side of the bread, the Euronic. Still plenty of names in there, though. We recognize the likes of Pinsesh, the likes of Lerner, the likes of Antonov. And of course, there is still the better part of this championship still to go. So all of that could change. But really, I think we should focus on that gap, Rob, between P3 and P4. Big for a reason. And that's because of the amount of wins and the amount of consistency that those top 3 are showing.
Yeah, it's an amazing performance from the top 3 drivers here in this championship so far. Perhaps before we go to that, we can actually take a look at the last race, because Lewis prepared a little highlight clip for us, the top 5 best scenes, because we didn't only have the esports drivers there racing, we also had the FIA WTCR drivers, at least 2 of them, Nestor Girolami and Esteban Guerreri. So let's take a short look at the highlight videos at the top 5 from last time, and then we're back.
Now grabs the inside. He's going to have to be very, very heavy on the brakes. I don't think he's going to be heavy enough. Rasmus Salo is a pretty aggressive driver himself, but diving it to the inside, a little bit of brush of contact from the inside of 3. Guerreri does gain the position, Rob.
Yeah, already gapping Girolami and Gomez, who's struggling here.
He may well be the second
dive from corner.
That's a big dive as well. Straight up the inside of Ottaviani. I don't even think there was contact between the 2 of them there. Go Baldi behind. You've got the 2 Audis going either which way of Florian Hasser, Nagy and Zoltan Ciuti. It's Nagy to the outside, Ciuti to the inside as we run around. That is the position gained from Nagy. So he is ahead of Zoltan Ciuti now. He's under pressure from Gianmarco Fiducci. What did I say before? That maybe 7th is all they can battle for? No, the moment they start getting racy ahead, there goes Fiducci up to 6th place, trying to cut across though. The car was still there, just a slight overlap on the straight line. Maybe a little bit naughty there from Gianmarco Fiducci, nearly cost him an awful lot in that sense, but does gain 6th place. Zoltan Ciuti moves from 5th down to 8th, as Pinches is also able to get through. Still the momentum, the drive of the corner heads the way of the Lincoln Co. No opportunities, sniffing. A couple more opportunities, more speed on the corner, although he's run wide. A big mistake from Tim Yarshall, just pushed it that little bit too far off of 9 and into 10. And Tim Yarshall just wasn't able to do anything with it. Tim is on the inside, there is just a car width being given from Bence Banky. He is looking to take yet another victory. But No, oh, look at that, to the outside. The top three going 3 wide out of nowhere. Florian Haase was trying to get involved in the mix. David Noj returns to the race lead. Bence Banki returns to second. And Florian Haase, what a great attempt to try and get around the outside. Credit for ambition.
Somehow he stayed ahead of Martin Barner as well.
Yeah.
So he got forced into the grass. Haase with the
Oh,
move.
big dive to the inside of Banki. We don't normally see those. Oh, there we go with Baldi as well on the inside of Barner, both trying to repeat the same move. It has worked for Haase. It hasn't worked for Baldi. Up to second place goes Florian Haase. This is aggression we don't normally see out of the German. He's...
In the meantime, Haase dropped back.
Oh!
Surprise move here. I think Baldi has run wide.
It was a changing of line there from Gergo Bauder that just opened the door there for David Noj. I don't think Noj really intended on firing one down the inside there, but he certainly did so and made the most of the opportunity. The next one's a right-hander and should swing the way of David Noj. It's going to be tightening up here. Heavy on the brakes though, Gergo Bauder. Oh, he's trying to throw it all the way around the outside. They're two still side by side as they were just a week ago. The first race of the season at the Hungaroring saw these two heading side by side. They remain side by side. Gergo Bauder to the inside of dive bomb corner. Respect between the two of them. Intensity between the two of them. David Noj is the outside for yet another corner. It's not really going to work out there as the next one very much tightens up. The left-hander at turn 10. David Noj back to the inside, heavy on the brakes. It might just be open enough for him. Is it going to be the race victory? Oh, it's just swung the way of Noj. That is a sensational move. Another brilliant display between the two of them. Just a couple of corners to go. Just hold your breath. Is going about he is throwing it around the outside. He doesn't give a damn. He's absolutely committed to the line. They will be running very, very tight all the way around the outside of 13, the penultimate corner, to the inside of 14. Oh, we're going to have a run to the line. It is so close. It should be heading the way of David Noj. We can't really see from this angle. It certainly is. And David Noj puts an end to the dominance that Gergo Bauder has put on. 25 points to Noj. It's a mirror Esports 1-2 again.
It sure was a helter-skelter event, that much is for sure, and I want to extend my personal thanks out to Mr. Lewis McGlade for filling the boots over the course of the broadcast as well. I was busy on another project, unfortunately, but it's wonderful to be back now with practice nearing its end. So actually, I think as we transition into qualifying, Rob, now would actually be a great time to tackle the slight change. We can see here actually the podiums that these guys have been picking up, and sort of go back to the point before we had that highlight section showing just how consistent Baldi, Banki and Naj have been. They have been helped by great qualifying performances in general, and thanks to the new qualifying format, of course, with 3 rounds in at this point. But yes, we've got 3 qualifying sessions, one before every race, the reverse grid element completely eliminated. And there has been a slight change, Rob. For the first 2 rounds, we've been running individual qualifying, and so the time has been the same for everyone else, but you've basically had the track all to yourself. There are no other cars on circuit. From Aragon onwards, this is changing. Everyone is now sharing the same track, and so I think for the spectator it's great because we're seeing all the cars on track. I think the challenge is greater for the drivers now as well, because they've got that element back in where they've got to find their own space, and that is really going to be compounding the fact that the qualifying sessions are now much shorter as well. 8 minutes apiece before each race. It means that you've really got to think about your tactic well ahead of qualifying, and hope that when you do pick your time to make your way out onto the circuit, that it's, well, the right call, because I imagine we'll be seeing much more mixed grids than we've seen for the past couple of rounds with all of these elements now coming together.
Yeah, because it also allows the drivers to slipstream in the qualifying session, and you've just seen the long straight here. Norbert Leitner just drove down the long straight, and a lot of team tactics will be possible. Not possible for Bence Banki because he doesn't have a teammate in this championship, so difficult situation for him, but it makes it all more interesting for the spectators here, as we're just about to go into the first of 3 qualifying sessions. So let's take a look at who is racing with us here today.
And it's your usual suspects, really, the likes of Baldi, Naj, Banki, Haase, Pinsesh, Antonov, Shuti. We give a special shout out to Gianmarco Fiducci, who in the last week has signed with Team Fordzilla. So great to see the official Ford Esports outfit here with us, even though they are running Link & Co. It's great to see these big sim racing entities coming through. You'll also see on the right hand side of these towers a lot of Ballas Esports / 24 hours for Anna. Now all of these guys are racing for Ballas Esports, who are supporting a great cause. It's a 24-hour event in support of this poor little girl who unfortunately has fallen quite gravely ill in these times, and we just want to send her all the love in the world. We want to send plenty of love and support to the Ballas Esports team for supporting such a great cause, and we can only hope that they come away with great results. A lot of names that you might not be so familiar with, in the likes of Luciano Vidvot. Actually, to be fair, with Saboslai, we actually have Balint, who returns to the championship. His brother Sylvester racing for the first time. Dylan Da Costa as well. Great to see them there. The Snow Shatton team back as well. Attila Dine coming in. Juan Manuel Gomez back. Quarantine Ponto, a regular of the championship for the past couple of years. Really nice field. New competitors, old competitors. It's kind of what we love so much about the EWTCR. Plenty of chances to make new friends and plenty of old ones to look forward to as well.
Yes, and I think for the Ballas racing team, or Ballas Esports as they're called now, it's a big success that they're in this race with 4 drivers. And we've got a bit of a special situation because of that, because we've got 2 pairs of brothers on this grid.
The first time in history as well, I should say, probably, for the EWTCR.
Yeah, at least that it's 2. That is the first time for sure. Yep. Because we also got the Verle brothers, of course. Both on one camera here. Racing together in server 1 this time, both of them. So that's cool to see. But now let's focus on the track here, Motorland Aragon. We haven't really seen much of it, so let's maybe go on board with Leandro here.
And it all starts coming over the crest and down towards turn 1. For those interested in getting your track maps up, we're running the official FIA configuration. And so it's a tight turn 1, followed by a little bit more of an open turn 2, heavy straddling of the curbage from Leandro Verle, who then turns in right to 3. Opens the car up a little bit for it should be flat out through 4. And then a heavier braking zone as we start to make our way uphill through turns 5 and 6. Again, one of the wonderful parts about this track really is how many opportunities you get to open the car up. It's not so much stop-start. There's a great flow to this as we glide through turn 7 and have a short reprieve as we head down the downhill braking zone. It should be mentioned as well into turn 8. It continues to go downhill through turn 9, almost like Laguna Seca downhill corkscrew section there, as we then open up the car again through turn 10 and then through into the curved straight of turns 11 into 12. A little bit of a slipstreaming opportunity here. Heavy braking zone, uphill, and then downhill we go. This is where the braking zone eventually lies. You've got to pick your time well. Little bit wide there for Verle, but it's okay because then it's another open right-hander through 13 before then the right-hander 90 degrees of 14, the right-hander 15 degrees of 15, and that is your track as you open up the throttle for the final time and make your way over the crest.
Yeah, it's exhausting to drive a lap here. You can see Leandro Verle already wiping the sweat away from his forehead. The first qualifying lap, but he made a mistake in the first corner, and that's because of the track limits here. They are sometimes quite tight in some of the corners, so you have to watch out there. You can see the same here. He's not running all the way over the curb on the outside because it might invalidate his lap time. So Verle, we're not expecting him to go pole with this lap, but it was a decent lap, a decent banker lap, and he will have at least one more, well, only one more attempt actually. Let's see as the times come in.
Yeah, 16, 17 and 18 then making up the final part of the lap. Very much a slow down period. 16 I think is going to be the major overtaking point on this circuit. So much free real estate to slipstream down. Quite a wide part of the track as well before it then all really just closes back up again. And as I say, really, the last opportunity there off turn 15 to open the throttle, you've got to be a little bit more careful through 18, not exactly flat out. And we can see Juan Manuel Gomez with a 205, Oldie hitting a 205.0, although going into the latter stages of that time zone. Baldi, of course, having such a great season so far.
That's amazing time from Baldi, but he's not going for another attempt, and that is really a surprise. And Spunky in second, just 1,000 ahead of Juan Manuel Gomez. But he is still out there, he is still going for a second attempt. But Baldi thinks that this time is enough, and you know, you can't really blame him with the 2:05.0.
That's one of our longest laps on the calendar as well, and so really you can only fit in 2 laps, by which point you've already used the tyres quite a lot. So to be fair, I think with Baldi, it's just a case of recognizing this is a great time. I might be wasting a little bit of time just trying. I mean, yes, you could go for another one, but I don't think we saw truly the extent of the traffic situation that he was in as well. And he's currently 3/10 clear pretty much of everyone else around him, Banky and Gomez. And actually, Gomez, that time, when we think about it, actually really great.
Yeah, so
in
great
contrast.
time from Frigotto.
Yeah.
As a debutant in this season, he's been racing in Esports WTCR and TCC for a long time. Ooh, Wisniewski a bit wide, track limits there, I think. Once again, not a good qualifying for him. He was very far off the pace and at the Slovakia ring. Hungary ring, he was leading briefly even. It's not going well. Behind Florian Hasse, who won his first race there, and Wisniewski pulling off to the side.
He is done. He's not going to get any higher than P10, which is pretty disastrous, actually. Look how many cars are down this back straight, Rob, and this really is where we see coming to a head the issue of all these cars on track in the space of an 8-minute session. Yes, everyone wants to try and find their best moment to go and set that lap, try and find enough clean air, but you just don't have the luxury of that with how little time is on the table.
Yeah, let's see with Banky. Can he improve right behind Whitfield? Got a great slipstream here, but he might have been held up earlier. It's an improvement. It's an improvement. Nice time from him. Alashin, he was the big surprise of pre-qualifying. Second in pre-qualifying, but only 19th here. That's a huge disappointment for him.
Still within a second of pole, though, again, illustrating just how close people are. Make that P20 as Dylan da Costa, the Frenchman, moves up into P18. Crazy to think that we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers all within 9/10 to a second off pole position. Banky the closest to even trying to usurp Gergo Baldi, a 10th and a half off.
And I think the big story here is the championship contender David Notch, only in P8. He's also back in the pits. He's not going to improve. Frigotto is the only car that is still out on track. And that means he will start on the second row for sure. Leitner in 5th. So a really surprising qualifying result here, but should make for a great race.
Yeah, Shooty with a much improved qualifying. Zupanek up inside the top 10 as well. A really mixed up grid there. Massive disappointment for Nikodem Wisniewski down in P14 and Pinsesh as well down in P15. I don't think it's super bad for David Noj. It's kind of like you might remember Bent Spunky in the first qualifying session in Hungary, Rob, where we were disappointed with his performance. There's always a chance, and especially more here than Hungaroring, that you can fight your way up the order. So yes, it's disappointing from the outset, only P8 when his championship contenders are 1 and 2, but there is still, of course, plenty of race time to make up those positions.
Yeah, let's see how the race goes here. It's the first time, of course, that we race on the circuit, so we have got no reference at all how it will go in the race.
And no previous winners, no previous pole sitters. The first of those is Gergo Baldi, who continues his great form in 2020 and 2019. Let's be fair to the man. His only real hiccup was a technical hiccup at the live final in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, almost a year ago. 25 minutes on the clock. Spain awaits. The red lights are on and they are out. We're off and racing at Motorland Aragon, and it does look like it's a clean getaway from Gergo Baldi. Ben Spunky slicing in behind. We can see Frigotto there, unfortunately, with a terrible start, Rob. And as it gets going to get even worse, clatters into the Audi, and Gustavo Frigotto is dropping like a stone.
I think it was Werle actually who got into the Audi there. Frigotto still with a terrible start, but Werle got into the Audi. Oh, disaster for the Snowschatten guys there, and disaster for the Audi as well. Just trying to figure out who it was. It must have been David Notch.
It's Zupanek. Actually, no, it's Zupanek actually, because I mean David. Oh no, it is David Notch. You're absolutely right. There was an Audi ahead, also with yellow color. That is Zupanek, but David Notch down to P12. A Celtic start, you could say, for David Notch as he plummets down to P12. Not what he would have wanted at all. Nikodem Wisniewski will be happy that he's kept position, although that might be under threat as well as Leandro Verla fights his way through to P14. Great opportunistic move.
Aggressive stuff there from Leandro at the start of the race. You go a bit further to the front. Norbert Leitner, all of a sudden in 4th.
Yeah, so he's gained a position, hasn't he? But that was kind of down to Frigotto having such a poor start and that having a domino effect on the rest of the field as it went from bad to worse. Baldi and Banki, of course, not really looking back. Neither was Juan Manuel Gomez, the Argentine, having one of his better outings here, really as good as we've seen since 2017. We're back when it was the EWTCC, and Leandro Verla is slicing through the field like a knife through warm butter, Rob. Another great opportunistic move. So here comes Wisniewski, quite happy to now settle on the inside and maybe get 2 positions for the price of 1. Leandro Verla now going to get bullied, escorted to the outside. You do not want to be there once we reach the hairpin. You definitely want to be on the inside, but there goes the Cooper on the inside as well. Adam Pinsesh, who tries to slide down the inside. No luck there. Wisniewski forces Verla off the circuit. Verla tries to keep his nose in. But that's great defensive driving and a great bite back from Wisniewski as Verla, it goes from bad to worse for him now. Barna taking, Ottaviani, I should say, taking control. My apologies.
First lap over, Garibaldi still in the lead of the race. The Hungarian calm as ever championship leader, looking for his 4th win of the season, but his big rival Benz Banki is right behind him. And I don't think he can gap him quite yet. We saw 2 other cars side by side, and that were Fiduci and Florian Hasse. Hasse won last time out. Fiduci hasn't won a race on RaceRoom at all yet in the official esports leagues. And that's an interesting fight. Fiduci gained the position though, and now he's hunting down Ben Superneck, who's got an excellent run here in P6 at the moment, the Mira esports driver in yet another Audi.
I'd say Fiduci's probably had the best start of everyone, Rob. He started P11 up to P7, really taking advantage of the carnage around him, which is great to see from Fiduci as well, because certainly throughout last year when he made his first impressions, we're like, okay, here's a guy with a lot of potential, got a lot of pace, but his racecraft has been a little haphazard from time to time, and he saw a lot of points fly out the window when a little bit more conservatism could have saved him. It's nice to see him taking that aggression but controlling it a lot better now, and you can see that the proof's in the pudding. Okay, he might not have the overall pace, but it looks like that car's a lot easier to control than it was even in the first 2 rounds of the season.
Yeah, he's steadily improving, and I think this team change might help him as well. Absolute was a very strong team, and now he's teammates up with the likes of Emre Cihan, so perhaps we can expect even more.
So down onto the back straight once again. Plenty of slipstreaming over opportunity, and Norbert Leitner's fancying his chances of Juan Manuel Gomez. He did have to lift. And maybe a little bit of tactical play there from Juan Manuel Gomez to check up on Norbert Leitner, but the Hungarian is sniffing. I can't even remember the last time that Norbert Leitner got a podium, let alone a win. I would hazard a guess at 2018 off the top of my head.
It was in the WTCC in 2017. He won at Suzuka. I think this was his last win, but he got a victory in the All-Hungarian Championship, the Hungarian Esports Championship, this year. So he's been steadily improving. He's been back on RaceRoom for quite a bit now. Oh, and Hasse there takes the inside. Could be a slowdown penalty because he was definitely way above the curb there on the inside, and that might invalidate your lap time.
We'll have to wait and see as things progress here with Kirill Antonov and Frigotto, who has fallen further. He'd settled in about P8, P9, but Hasse and Antonov showing better race pace as things stand. And speaking of better race pace, well, Ben Spanky has decided to turn on the afterburners a little bit here, Rob. He was quite content for the first 2 laps. But now Gogo Baldi has his rearview mirrors filled with a teal blue that could only be associated with a Lincoln Co car.
Yeah, strong performance from Ben Spanky here. Weren't necessarily expecting that on the circuit. He was fastest in pre-qualifying, of course, like he always is. But he drove a Hyundai in the pre-qualifying. So yet he didn't have the most faith in the Lincoln Co. Balashin kind of proved that the car's fast though, and now he seems to be proving it once again. So 2 of the main guys, 2 of the previous champions, Bali when it comes to the online championship 2019, and the Beat the WTCR Drivers Championship this year.
Yeah.
Banki, of course, winning in 2018. So 2 of the big names here, the drivers with the most victories, the most podiums and everything else, fighting for the victory.
if we want to get technical about it, if we're considering the EWTCR as a package, this is season 6. Baldi has won 2 of the championships. Of course, he couldn't contest in one of the seasons as well, because that was exclusive to the real-life drivers. Not that these two care, of course. Going down the back straight, Benz Zupanek and Zoltan Schuti, both working with different working with the same outfit. My apologies. I forgot that Zupanek had been picked up by Mira, and showing faith in him are Mira, and with good reason as well. This is his best qualifying performance. I'd argue that as of yet, Rob could be on for his best race performance. Lovely overtake. P5 is up ahead. Here goes Ben's Bunky. And he pulls back in. He decides that safety, the better procedure on this occasion. Still 18 minutes to go, is looking to capitalize on Schuti's pain. Is Gianmarco Fiducci. He's looking quite eager.
Yeah, good battles here at Aragon. Seems like a great circuit for racing. We have to go back to the front because Bunky is really close and we never know when he's going to strike.
This is real issue in the last couple of years, really, wasn't it? More so 2019. He'd stuck with Honda since the beginning of his EWTCR/TCC career, and it hadn't really gone wrong for him until the beginning of 2019, when his overtakes just dried up. He had decent race pace, but really just never looked like he was going to overtake the guys ahead of him. It appeared on the surface, at least, to be damage control at every race rather than trying to fulfill potential. And we've certainly seen that the move to Lincoln Co has given him more of an arsenal looking forward, which is great to see. It's something that certainly Antonov and Fiducci will both know as well, both taking Lincoln Co's for this season. Although Antonov more on the defensive here, as Frigoto's looking to recoup some of those positions that he lost in the opening couple of minutes.
Yeah, Frigoto was very fast in qualifying, of course. So we would expect him to gain some places, but also David Notch in P11. That's disappointing finish, of course, if he doesn't move up. We'll still give him 5 points, but that's not a lot when his rivals get 25 and 20 points.
Yeah, he'll be thankful that there is no reverse grid situation and that he's basically got a clean slate once we head into the second part of this broadcast. Of course, a qualifying session for those just joining before each and every race this evening, of which we've got more races in an evening than ever. We've got 3 of them coming up for you. This the first, and Gianmarco Fiducci there finally found an opening on Zoltan Schuti. He'd been threatening to do that for the last lap or so, and again, with a little bit of elbows out, he has made his way through, and he'll be hoping that the Honda behind Florian Hasse is again just going to occupy Schuti's vision so that he doesn't bite back. Indeed, Hasse trying to go around the outside of turn 1. Bold move, he's forced to the outside and ultimately forced back into the train.
It was out from Fiducci there. Not sure if Schuti will be happy with that. Up to P6 now.
Still in touch of Zupanek ahead.
Hasse locks up.
Look at Antonov there, who sees the lockup of Hasse and thinks maybe this is mine. Unfortunately, well, I was going to say unfortunately, the nature of the circuit doesn't help him. He's just going to drive clean around the outside of turn 6 and 7. Why not? Kirill Antonov up to 8th position.
Great stuff from the Russian. We had a race yesterday with some Cupras around Macau, and he won both of them. So certainly on form at the moment. Also a driver who's pretty high up when it comes to the penalty strikes on RaceRooms. Always has to watch out a little bit in the battles. As in the background, Frigoto now is attacking Florian Hasse.
As always, cutthroat in the midfield. But yeah, this
On
circuit.
the inside.
Oh, that's a really late move, and it's always, as I say, cutthroat, especially on circuits where you're allowed to overtake. Frigoto using as much of the curb as he dares allow himself to stay ahead. He might have just gone over the line with that one. Lucky to get away with no penalty, but David Naj has made his intentions very clear. He wants in on the top 10, and he wants in now.
Yeah, and he has a lot of ground to make up. But Leitner, maybe he wants 3rd place. He's still in 4th. That's the high ping, of course, from Juan Manuel Gomez, who's racing from Argentina. Gomez as well, he's sitting on negative points in this championship. Picked up a few penalties already. And now in P3, on course for a podium. That's a great result. Notch and Frigoto side by side. And Notch is through.
Very nicely done from David Notch. And he's got to keep his cool in this situation. Okay, he's probably not on for a podium, That much he's got to just lock away as the Lincoln Co going down the inside there into turn 1. Viducci fancies to go at the other Hungarian. Now, as Ben Zupanek going to be on the inside behind, you can see Antonov fancies a piece of Schutte as well. Zupanek's going to have the inside. Gianmarco Fiducci just going to keep his foot stuck in. He's going to keep it going round. That might have been an illegal overtake if he'd gone through there. The next corner has to stamp on the brakes heavily. I think he didn't realise just how hot he was coming into the hairpin. But as things stand, it is still status quo. You can see Antonov there. He likes this outside line, doesn't he? He's going to try again around the outside of Zoltan Schutte. And great camera to go on board with here. The rear bumper cam of Gianmarco Fiducci. Antonov's still got a little bit of a lip. He's going to go around the outside of turn 8. Well, he was going to think of going around the outside of turn 8, Rob. That's not going to happen. But fair shout to Zoltan Schutte here, who is defending as if his life depended on it.
Tough racing here, and seems like the Audis are struggling a little bit on the race pace. Lots of attacks from the Lincoln Co here. Audi not the car with the highest top speed, so perhaps that's hurting them.
Positive barrage at the moment. Fiducci, maybe you can see why it's so intense as Florian Hasse there just decides to go to the shops. He comes back behind David Noj. And so he found a parking space, but he wasn't out of the shops first. He is dropping further back, and that's all. It's not a Constantine effect, sorry, it's the domino effect from going so wide at turn 8. So he's outside of the top 10. Under threat here from Martin Barner in the Audi. I believe that Barner should surely be through once they hit this turn 16. Gianmarco Fiducci still trying to overtake Zupanek. Not going to happen. And yet Florian Hasse down to P12. What a costly mistake that was.
A bit of a surprise how he's dropping so far back. Remember, he won the last race.
But you might remember, if we go even further back, Rob, that unfortunately his Hungaroring exploits weren't exactly too hot either. Adam Hinsesh will certainly be feeling the burn as well. Had a decent start to the season, languishing down in P13 along with Wisniewski, who has made no forward progress this race.
Hinsesh is now catching up to Hasse. I think he will be part of this battle group pretty soon.
It's been a thoroughly entertaining race. I look up to the timer. I can't believe that we've still got over 10 minutes left. Please inject more of this into my veins, RaceRoom Senpai, as Adam Pinches looking to the inside. Also looking to the inside is Zoltan Schutte. He fancied a bite of the cherry pie that was in front of him. And,
Antonov
well,
will get them all.
He might end up getting them all. Let's see how this one shapes out, shall we? So it's currently Fiducci who's out there in front. Antonov has gained 2 positions out of it. Mighty fancy Fiducci as well. The 2 Audis forced to stick behind on this occasion. And yeah, ultimately Fiducci and Antonov, they're mugging the 2 Audis.
That was a lot of cars trying to go for the same piece of tarmac there. Somehow they all stayed on track. Now we've got the 3 Audis right behind each other, and the 4th one of Martin Barner not too far behind. Who would have thought that Wisniewski is the last of the Audis?
Somehow, I feel as if that might change in the next 10 minutes or so, as P5 might change. Gianmarco Fiducci goes a little bit to the inside. David Nodge was just sweeping and swiping all over the place. He's going to go around the outside of turn 16. No, he's not again, just forced out of room by Zoltan Schutte. But I would not be surprised, Rob, if over the next 5 to 10 minutes or so, David Naj works his way up from the back of this pack to the front. We know that he's got the overtaking ability. And overtaking ability, by the way, finally shown by Norbert Leitner, who's, after what seemed like an eternity, gotten past Juan Manuel Gomez. Well weighted, that one, Rob, and Norbert Leitner's got his just rewards.
Yeah, unfortunately we missed the scene. That was bound to happen. Leitner just with a good pace here. Hyundai looking very, very good on this track. And he's up to a podium.
I'm surprised that Bunky hasn't made more of a move on Gergo Baldi.
Yeah, but the thing is that Aldi is also in a Hyundai. So
yeah.
I'm not sure if he can.
Gomez by no means falling back from Leitner either. He would quite like that podium. one of the early stars in the EWTCC. It's great to see him back in the championship full time. And great to see him back in the form that we know that he's capable of as well, of really attacking the inside curb there. Juan Manuel Gomez. No room really to make his way through here. But nice to see him keeping Norbert Leitner honest. Great to see the potential for another podium sitter in 2020. The capital city is Buenos Aires. We wonder whether it will be Buenos Dias by the end of this race. Looking further back, it's Gianmarco Fiducci still in P5. Really starting to accumulate just the biggest of trains that you can possibly fathom on this circuit, Rob. And especially down this back straight, it's so tempting as a car further back in the pack to see just how close you are to so many position gains.
Sorry to interrupt you there. Bunky was trying it.
I asked, where was the move? Well, the moves have started to arrive. Not on this occasion, success. Maybe on later occasions. Just maybe as Frigotto overtakes David Naj. I thought he was going to move forward. No, not backwards. The Brazilian back up into P9.
Huge battle here. Huge battle pack. But the straight just shows it can happen anytime. We weren't expecting Bunky to make a move. He wasn't that close to Baldi. But he still tried it around the outside. Just for good measure. And now he's really close.
P5 to P14 separated by 2 seconds, by the way. That is how close and how large that pack is. Stay where you are, folks. Race 1 still has plenty to offer. No less at the front, where Ben Spunky is starting to see just little chinks in the armor of Gergo Baldi, who has surely been just mentally hooked up this entire race, wondering when a move is going to come. That takes a lot out of you as a racing driver, even if it is just a 25-minute race. And maybe paranoia starting to set in as Ben Spunky sees one prize and one prize only on his agenda.
Yeah, now it's looking pretty realistic that he can win the race. We've seen Gergo Baldi being rather careful in the last races. When he was battling with David Notch for the victory, he was driving, of course, he was trying to go for the victory, but he was always leaving enough room, driving really fair. Hasn't picked up a strike in a long time, and now, of course, he's battling with someone who's not in his team. Battling with his longtime rival, Ben Spunky. Let's see how this turns out.
Frigotto now outside of the top 10. He's back into the top 10. Him and Barner are having a barnstorming battle as Naj has moved back up into P9. This where we're really interested though. Gergo Baldi, that's the most offensive we've seen anyone really go. And around the outside, Ben Spunky's going to try and go to turn 16. It's so tight though. You need to be so committed. Ben Spunky's still there, still with the lip. But unfortunately for him, it's going to turn back in to Baldi's favour, and Baldi just about holds on, but that is a compromised line, and Ben Spunky knows it. Defensive again goes Gergo Baldi. On the offensive goes Ben Spunky. Is he going to launch it down the inside? No, he is not, Rob. Another great opportunity goes a-begging.
This was a real try from Ben Spunky, and it almost worked. Still over 5 minutes to go. Perhaps another opportunity will come, but it looks like Bunky has a bit better pace at the moment. Oh, he runs wide. Just about keeps his car under control.
Make no mistake, he is definitely the fastest driver out of these two, especially today. He's going for it. He's going for it, and Gergo Baldi, to make matters worse, gets hooked up on the curbing. Still somehow manages to stay ahead, and talk about man under pressure. He doesn't look it, does it? He looks like he's just having a Sunday drive to the shops. It's all a credit to him that he can manage this pressure so well. As again, we've got another great duo behind him, Norbert Leitner and Juan Manuel Gomez. Thank you, Motorland Aragon. My faith in you is most certainly being paid off now.
Yeah, plenty of battles throughout the field. Supernek and Fiducci, it's kind of the same. They've kept Antonov now, but Antonov got Suti right behind him and David Notch. And then, if we look a bit further back, it's not better here. Wisniewski fighting with Hassel, fighting with Frigotto, who lost a few places. Hassel up the inside of Frigotto now.
This all for the final points paying positions, by the way. Points go down to P15. And so we are looking at very much not just the outside of the points, but the inside of the points as well. Anybody's game. as Florian Hasselner forced to the inside of Frigotto. Frigotto running. What a move from Frigotto around the outside of turn 15. That's astonishing stuff. Maybe Ben Spunky can pull off something as spectacular. Again, he tries around the outside of turn 16. Such smart driving from Gergo Baldi to allow him to go out to the outside. He knows that he's got the better lines, especially through turn 18. And Ben Spunky has switched it up here. He's decided not to go as offensive, and this time he's going to tuck up into the slipstream and hope that he has better drive, maybe around the outside of turn 1. He's just trying to compromise Baldi's line at every single opportunity, going for the cutback. This is an excellent attempt from Ben Spunky. It's just such a shame for him that the track keeps on dipping and diving and going, well, as all tracks do, I guess, at some point, left and then right, because no matter how much overspeed he's got, he just doesn't seem to have enough by the next section of the track to be able to make that move stick on Gergo Baldi.
I think Baldi has to watch out now. It's the penultimate lap that we're on. I don't think this is all. I think Bunky's got a few more tricks up his sleeve here. Don't think he's shown it all.
And the one retirement, that being Leandro Verla. It's good to see that, again, the attrition rate pretty low. Everyone's still in with a chance of points, of course, as long as you're in the race. Maybe the Costa and Vidvolt, unfortunately, out of contention, some 10-20 seconds back. But it's great to see that even though they are 10-20 seconds back, Rob,
Still battling.
they're still battling away. They've got company.
Yeah, Hassan and Frigotto also. Lots of position changes. No love lost between these two. Daviani in the background against Soboslai.
So Hasser up to P13, Ottaviani through to P15 as Balance Soboslai is very much of a... Soboslai, there we go. Got it right eventually. P16, close to that point. So close to a win, though, is Ben Spunky. And again, Gergo Baldi just makes his way to the inside. He knows that he's got Ben Spunky hopefully covered.
Bunky's got a nose ahead.
I was going to say, this looks a lot better than previous. This looks a hell of a lot better than previous. Ben Spunky's done it around the outside of turn 16. Maybe a little bit too nonchalant from Gergo Baldi as they head on to the final lap of the race. Spunky leads.
Oh, now Baldi has to think of something. Only one lap left. And that was a great move there. Fantastic move from Ben Spunky. Is he gonna steal the win? Does Baldi lose another win on the final lap? Well, it was not the final lap this time. It was the last corner of the penultimate lap, but still.
Might as well have been. So close to the end. But to be fair to Baldi as well, he knows that he's got that cushion at least of some, what is it, so 38 points or something that he's got on Ben Spunky right now, so he's got a bit of leeway. That said, it's the worst person that he could lose a win to.
Yeah, it would be 12 after this race if it stays like this. That's not a lot.
You wonder whether Gergo Baldi might just take a page out of Ben Spunky's How to Overtake novel. Because he lined it up 3 or 4 times, Bunky. And then he just broke that little bit later last lap and managed to get that overlap into turn 16, which allowed him the drive to be able to push himself ahead before they even reached the final corner of the circuit. This a crucial part.
Deep here.
And Baldi's gone very deep. You know what? If it wasn't for Bunky taking a different line, he would have been in such a great position. Bunky going immediately defensive and over to the other side. That's his one defensive move done. He's weaving again. Eyebrows raised surely as Baldi continues to close up. But I think that Bunky's poor line through that chicane might just have saved him here. Baldi, you could see he was thinking about the switchback. He's going to try anyway to go around the outside of turn 16. Bunky having absolutely none of it. Great defensive driving. A shake of the head from Baldi. He knows that he has lost this fight, and he has lost this fight to Ben Spunky, who timed his move to perfection. A win for him. The first ever winner of Motorland Aragon in the EWTCR. Baldi on the podium once again. Leitner with his first podium, we believe, at least in 2 years. Juan Manuel Gomez with 4th. Fiducci, Zupanek, Antonov, Naj, Shuti, Pinches, rounds out your top 10. The final point scorers being Barner, Wisniewski down in 12th, Hasa down in 13th. Ottaviani and Fragotto there after a top 4 start on the grid. A miserable P15 for him.
Bunky with the victory. I think there will be some incident reports from Garibaldi after this last lap.
There was some weaving.
Confirmation of the results. Lots of drivers not getting a timed lap in because of the track limit situation here. So Bunky winning the race ahead of Garibaldi, Norbert Leitner in P3, then Gomez, Fiducci, Zupanek in P6, Antonov, Notch, Suti, and Adam Pinch is actually rounding out top 10. Of course, don't tune off because we've got the same thing 2 times again coming up afterwards.
So straight into qualifying 2 effectively, and a chance for the likes of Wisniewski and Hasa to maybe rescue some points from this event. Rob, what do you make of that final lap from Banky? We know the situation. There's a certain level of decency that's expected among the drivers. You make one move, you then go back onto the racing line, and that's your lot. This reminds me a lot of an F1 incident from almost a decade ago now. You might remember it at Malaysia, Sepang circuit, Hamilton and Vitaly Petrov, where Petrov was swerving in front of him. Now, it's not to say that Hamilton could have overtaken him on that particular lap, but it was just the fact that Petrov moved so much. Or was it Hamilton that moved so much under the brake? Basically, there was a lot of swerving, and it's kind of like, as a driver, you're looking at and thinking, well, I'm supposed to be picking up a draft here. You're not giving me much option on where to go.
Yeah, I think the other thing is also the movement just at the end of the straight. He just made this little move to the other side, and that it forced Baldi to take avoiding action. And I think Baldi won't be happy. I can't judge this from just having it seen once, but I think it's something where Banky will say, oh, well, I just defended my position, I had to do it. And Baldi was saying, you didn't give me a fair chance to get back the position. So, yeah, especially with the championship on the line between these two, it's something that will surely be brought up afterwards. For us as the viewers, of course, it's great. I mean, it's great racing, 2 people fighting for the championship, going for the race win here against each other. That's great to see.
And I think I will just again say, thank you, Motorland Aragon. I'm so glad this circuit provided such great entertainment in the first race immediately, no matter where you looked. And we saw it's very true a statement, because we went to the very back, didn't we? And then saw the last 2 guys 10, 20 seconds behind everyone else, still fighting with each other. It's a great circuit. It's a wonderful circuit. I am shocked that Formula 1 has never raced here, honestly, because I think that it would be well suited. I love the elevation changes. I love the different styles of corners. I love the fact, Rob, that you can have overspeed, you can overtake around the outside, but you've got to work so hard for it. And as much as Ben Spanky might be under the microscope for maybe some devious defending, at the same time, you've got to credit him for waiting until that final moment possible to make that move and give Garibaldi as little time to respond.
Just trying to get the new point standings in here. We were expecting them to have them at the first try, but there they are. Garibaldi then still leading the championship, but just these 12 points ahead of Ben Spanky.
14 points, Rob.
Oh yeah, you're right. 14 points, that's true.
Don't worry, I'm on it, buddy. I'm on it. David Naj there still in P3. And I guess Florian Haas is quite happy that Tim Yarshall isn't taking part today, and Adam Pinsesh didn't have as great a result as he did today.
Point standings making a few problems there. Let's hope they stay with us for the remaining duration of the event, because we've got quite a bit of time left still here. 2 races following afterwards.
So we are just filling for time pretty much until qualifying 2, of which qualifying 2 should be coming up immediately now, as our practice session has come to an end. So it was a 2:05.7 from Garibaldi. And we'd actually like to take this moment to remind everyone, this is a really fun fact actually, we mentioned it in the first week, the WTCR Asia has now started, and so you'll notice that there is a rather conspicuous lack of Asian drivers in this version in this season of the EWTCR, where we've seen the likes, we've seen drivers from the likes of Hong Kong and Malaysia, China on a couple of occasions as well. But they've now got their own individual championship along with Australia and New Zealand. There's a €2,500 prize pool out on offer for the winners of that championship. And it's great to see that they now have their own select championship, Rob, where they don't have to worry about ping. They don't have to worry about, disconnection, at least most of the time. It's actually lovely for them to have a stable championship to fight in, even if they might not necessarily be being highlighted on the European stage.
Yeah, it will be an interesting format as well. There will be just a leaderboard session and then one event where you race in 3 tracks. That will be on the same day as the last race from our championship here. It should be on the 29th of November. So that will be interesting to see, of course. Last year in the final, Andika Rama Maulana from Indonesia actually won a race against these guys, against Banki, against Baldi. So the level will be pretty high as well. And we can expect some great races, as they are racing on the Asian tracks as well. They will be racing at Macau, at Sepang, and also at Ningbo. Will be cool to see, tracks that we don't see in the real FIA WTCR this year, unfortunately. But at least we can still race them in the virtual world.
And I do think the Maulana is a big loss for the main championship. Certainly previous race winner, as you mentioned, always a threat for the podium. But qualifying 2 then underway, and I do notice the question in chat, just to remind everyone that the format for the EWTCR in Season 6 here in late 2020 is 3 qualifying sessions and 3 races, each one of the qualifying sessions preceding each of the races. And Adam Pinsesh didn't have a great qualifying one. It's fair to say it led directly to a not-so-great race one. Him along with the likes of Nick Wisniewski and Florian Hasse will be hoping to make amends here in Q2.
Yeah, one of these drivers who's been looking to break into the ultimate top of the field for quite some time. He hasn't won a race in Esports WTCR, but he's won races and even championships in other series, especially in touring cars. Maybe we expect a bit more here with the Cupra on the Spanish track. Ascona has shown it in real life how good the car can be. But the Cupra also the heaviest car in terms of ballast weight. So maybe not so easy to set a fast lap time here. Let's go on board with Pinches now. Pinches, I should say. It's so hard when you said it for years.
We've said Pinches for so long, Rob.
Yeah.
I know. Pinsesh. We're determined to get it right this year. Oh dear, and rightly so as well. I'm very much against my countrymen who are like, oh, let's just say it how it looks on the screen. I want to give all of these guys their proper dues, their proper pronunciation. They've gotten to the top level of EWTCR, one of the highest touring car leagues that you can possibly find in the world of sim racing. The least we should do is get their name right. It's the 31777 for Adam Pinsesh. Lucky for some, they say, Rob.
Yeah, let's see how it does here in this qualifying. First sector looked pretty good. Just having to take a short look at our stream, make sure everything is still running well.
Everything's nice and smooth, beautiful pictures. And remember, we're looking for 205.7. Sorry, no, 205.07. Get that one right, James. That being the pole position time from Gergo Baldi in Q1. To the back straight, it's a 127.9 at the second sector. Currently both personal best sectors, not fastest sectors. The first time starting to come in. And it is Verla there with a 205.450. Naj behind him, Wisniewski behind him, Antonov behind him. It's a decent effort.
Baldi should come in now. Baldi once again, very fast. Has a second now if we go to third. See where Pinsesh can slot in.
A 3, it's a 4, it's a 5. And unfortunately, it's not that great in the larger scale of things, Rob. He's only 4 tenths off, but he's down in P9. And the opening salvo still goes to Baldy. It could very well be Banky joining him on the front row again, but much better from Hassa. Frigotto still in the picture. I think that time from Verla was really good. And Fiducci getting up there as well in P4. Disappointment from Juan Manuel Gomez, though. So close to a podium in race 1, currently starting P11 as things stand. And Norbert Leitner down in 12th.
Yeah, Leitner right alongside him, currently on the grid. But we've got some drivers on purple sectors. This is one of them, Benz Bunky. Other one, Frigotto.
Frigotto's actually posted the faster sector 1 time. He's currently 2 thousandths faster than Benz Bunky in the first sector, which makes him the fastest person in the first sector as things stand. Now, what are we looking for here? A 125.5 or 4 maybe once we hit the second sector split? What's Frigotto at?
He's down.
He is down, 127.9.
Let's see what Bunky, but the lap didn't look so clean from Bunky, what we saw. Yeah, he's way down.
He's way down, yeah. They've both lost a lot of time, and this is probably what Baldy was thinking about.
Almost
As Gomez goes up to 7th, that's better. Still not great, but better. And there is still a chance for Frigotto to improve here as long as he's got a final sector worthy of it. Let's see, across the line for Gustavo Frigotto. It was the second row in Q1. In Q3, he is going to remain P5. At best. Here come a slew of cars. Benz Bunky. Almost certainly no improvement unless he's pulled a rabbit out the hat. No miracles here, but Fiducci is going to usurp him on the front row. How about that, Rob? He was in the middle of that group, and he managed to get Benz Bunky off the front row. Excellent effort from the Italian.
Yeah, I expected a bit more of a reaction there from Fiducci when we swapped to his camera, but he's getting used to it. But that's a great position for him in the qualifying session. Only one car left out on the track, Dylan Da Costa.
Currently down in P23. There's 2 people who have not set a time. This guy's one of them. And unfortunately, Rob, Dylan Da Costa's not even going to get a time set on the board because we're going to run out of time in qualifying before he reaches the line again.
Yeah, that's a shame, of course. But it's his debut, of course, in Server 1.
The fact that he's even here speaks a lot of his talent.
Yeah, lots of drivers missed out. Yarshall missed out. He was probably the most prominent name. Julian Kunze missed out as well. Yeah. We've got confirmation of the results. Baldi pole, Fiducci second, then Bunky and Hasse with a good qualifying. Insesh in 5th position, then Frigotto and Verle, the 2 Snowschatten guys, and the 3rd one from Snowschatten, Juan Manuel Gomez right behind them.
Naj P9, Wisniewski P10. Again, it's an average qualifying from Naj, although let's give him some credit. He was caught out at the beginning by the incident, including Frigotto. And into race 2 then. And honestly, for me, Rob, Fiducci's the danger man because he was very much hampered by his Q1 effort. He started in the midfield and made his way up the pecking order with some really robust moves. So I don't think that Baldi can think of this one as nailed on for a win just yet, and especially off the start, we know that Gianmarco fancies any opportunity that he's going to get.
Yeah, Fiducci in the car with the number 11 with the yellow mirrors. Bunky in the car with the number 12, so you can tell them apart. Baldi, of course, number 1 on pole. Lights are red.
And so for the second time, and Motorland Aragon, 25 minutes on the clock. Red lights on. Green lights on. It's away we go in Spain. And Baldi immediately covering to the inside to try and make sure that Fiducci doesn't have any special ideas going into turn 1. Benz Bunky's just going to go try clean around the outside of Fiducci, though. Fiducci a little bit conservative, actually. That surprised me. He's going to immediately lose out to Benz Bunky when it comes to the second position here. So Benz Bunky immediately up to P2. Baldi just happy to run away, scurry away while he has the opportunity. Hassa P4, Pinsesh P5, sorry. Frigotto with a much better start this time around. Still there in the P6 picture. Naj P9. Wisniewski again with a stinker of an opening few corners down to P30 The Polish driver, again, is every single season, Rob. He just seems to have this 1 or 2 rounds that really curtails any sort of championship hopes that he had. Currently battling away with Schutte and Leitner in P11. Superneck as well, not doing as great today. Up in P14, I'm going to say today, of course, I mean this race. Naj, though, looking for more positions. He's up to P8. He's past Kirill Antonov. He's trying to go past, it looks like, Leandro Verla as well, sorry.
It should be Gomez there who closed the door. And that created some domino effect, which sent Antonov wide. But Antonov could pass them around the outside here.
Bold. That's a nice move. That's a really nice move from Antonov. So Naj back down to P10 as we head down towards the 14-15 chicane. And again, Naj got to be careful here. If this is a round where he's going to suffer when it comes to points hauls, he's got to make sure it's damage limitation. Can't throw away his chances. Further back here, we haven't even talked about the alphas of Szoboszlai and Panto, who are down here in 16th and 17th on the cusp of the points here, along with Attila Dine, one of the youngest drivers, the German down in P19, not one of his better outings. But again, in these early stages, still plenty of positions to make up as further back. So for Ducci P3, the Honda of one, Manuel Gomez almost turning round Gustavo Fragotto. And thankfully for Fragotto there, he's going to stay. Oh my goodness, good airtime from his Brazilian compatriot, Leandro Verla. That suspension, yeah. And he's going to have to come into the pits. A disaster for Verla, who is going to probably see himself out of the race, unfortunately. Disaster and heartbreak. That was a heavy hit there for Verla, who is out before we even reach lap 2. But up at the top of the field, Rob, it's Baldi who leads from Bunky, Fiducci, Hasa, Pinsesh, Fragotto, Gomez, Leitner, Antonov, and Naj.
Yeah, crazy opening lap once again. A bit more crazy than the first one, actually. Lots of wild moments here. Notch and Antonov got into each other there. Or maybe it was Schutte, one of the yellow Audis for sure. And definitely Antonov, who's all the way sideways. Still ahead of both of them. This is a disastrous round for David Notch. Once again, he's down the order. And once again, his big rivals are at the front of the field. And I think this time Baldi has got a bit of a lead. Not sure if Bunky can do anything about it.
I think what is helping him is the presence of Gianmarco Fiducci, who of course is now running exactly the same car as Spence Bunky. And so as long as he stays within that slipstream, the Italian, I mean, the Italian's got plenty of incentive already to try and take that position back, which was his to begin with at the beginning of the race. Another link from Code further down the order. Kirill Antonov once again, strong midfield presence. And shout out to Norbert Leitner, Rob, who's again made good on the start here. Started P11, up to P8 already. You cannot separate him and pump Manuel Gomez at Aragon, it seems.
Yeah, Norbert Leitner, the oldest driver on the field, most experienced one as well when it comes to overall sim racing. Kirill Antonov is, just over half his age. Right behind him, a bit of a ping problem there from one of the Hondas. Would have been Gomez or Fragotto. Probably it's just Fragotto in the Hyundai. Antonov now trying to go for a move against Leitner.
Oh, he sees it. That's very nice. That's very nice indeed. He saw the opening, he saw the door, and he strode through it with confidence. And that is position secure as the exit turn 18. He's going to hope to just open, get some little bit of slipstream, just a little bit of slipstream down the home straight. Hopefully that'll be enough to defend into turn 1. And it most certainly is, as behind, there's Nikodem Vizitsky losing another position. This time to Zoltan Schutte.
Nothing going according to plan for Wisniewski, but look at all the Audis here. All in one place. The first Alpha already right behind them. One of the Szoboszlais.
It's actually Sylvester, who is in P15 on his debut in the EWTCR. His brother, unfortunately, all the way down in P22, so Sylvester Szoboszlai. Listen,
yeah, I already read in the chat we still haven't got Pinsesh quite right, so
this is the Hungarian problem. It's like, to be fair, there are plenty of names, so I'm half Welsh for reference. There are plenty of Welsh town names that I have massive problems with. As a half Welshman, that pains me, but understand, we are trying our best. Hey, we got Pinsesh, right?
I don't think we have. There was someone writing in the chat that it's still not quite right. So
What do you want us to say?
we've got a little bit of a break after this race. 2 weeks of no Esports WTCR. Of course, there's still another race coming up today after this one.
Yeah.
But
Was it Pine Sesh?
we will take our Hungarian lessons afterwards.
Yes.
Fiduci, meanwhile, not really trying to attack Ben's Bunky. Maybe he hopes that Bunky can close the gap to Baldi.
That's not how Marco Fiduci works, Rob. He's probably just trying to keep pace, and then at the first moment of hesitation from Ben's Bunky, he's going to try and overtake him. They got to be careful though, because Florian Hasse, who is having a much better race, it must be said. The qualifying position helps out a lot, of course, but it's nice to see him keeping pace with the podium.
Yeah.
And this is much more like what we saw last week.
Yeah, it looks like Hasse won't be a title contender this season, but he's always a contender for a podium. And it's the same here, I think. As long as the longer the race continues, the more pressure he will build on Gianmarco Fiduci.
No E in it. It should be like make, not can. That doesn't really answer my question, really, but that basically makes me think, hold on, but that's how I've been saying it this entire time. We might just have to glaze over it for now. Although I say glaze over it, he's up in P5, Rob, another one of these drivers who's having a much better time of it in race 2. Behind him, Frigotto. Lovely to see him actually nail the start and keep it clean. Actually showing the pace in race that we know that he was capable of unlocking through qualifying. And I do wonder, thinking back to race 1 now, whether his pace was potentially hindered by damage.
I was just getting so scared and confused for a moment when I realized it was the guy on the... Did you see that as well? This guy that was standing there, the face that the camera was zooming in, but it was just the guy who was standing on the side of the track. That was really confusing. So let's switch to a different camera here.
Rob, Halloween's over. It happened.
Yeah.
It was yesterday. No more spooks. No more spooks for me. And looking at that battle actually is that Gomez overtaking? It is. As soon as I say that Frigotto's having a good race, again, he loses a position. That was a lovely overtake from Juan Manuel Gomez. Up to P6, of course, so close to a podium in race 1. Really great consistency. I'm getting so annoyed. I almost said consistency, because I'm getting so confused with the Hungarian names. It's consistency, James, and it's consistency
and it's
that
sideways.
has seen him just about hold P6. Was that a little bit naive from Frigotto? Was it a little bit harsh from Gomez? Your thoughts, please, Mr. Rob.
Well, they're both teammates. Doesn't look like teammates, of course, because it's Honda and Hyundai. They're both part of the Snow Shuttle Esports outfit. And yeah, they could have been a bit more nice to each other there. But it's Esports WTCR after all. And they're fighting for the big points here. P6.
Naj?
Another good performance.
I think Naj is still fighting for P9. In fact, I think he's slightly ahead. No, there is Frigotto going back ahead. So he's actually for P8, my apologies.
Oh, there's the move.
Oh, hello, and he slices his way down the inside. You listen, yes, it was elbows out. It might have been over the curbage, but you'd honestly say, or at least, well, I would honestly say that that's more Naj putting his own car at risk than anything else, and he's been rewarded for his optimism.
But he's still in a very uncomfortable position here, fighting with drivers that he didn't have to fight at all in any of the previous races. And he's still losing points against Aldi and Bunky, who are first and second once again, this time the other way around.
You watch as Hungarian Lessons becomes one of the top 5 moments from this race. It's been a great race already, and it might get even better actually for Kirill Antonov. Juan Manuel Gomez, who of course helped Antonov a lot actually through that contact with Frigotto, might be gifting Antonov P5 here potentially, or P6, my apologies. Can I go any higher? The answer is yes for Kirill Antonov through to P6. And Juan Manuel Gomez is going to be licking his wounds.
Yeah, top speed advantage for the Lincoln Co. Talked about it a lot in the previous seasons. Honda not the best car in a racing situation. It's very fast over one lap, but on these long straights, it's just difficult. And the last race, Gomez had the, you know, him and Leitner, they had a large gap to everyone else's. Whitworth is going very wide there in the background.
At least he's, you know, still there. And he didn't hit the wall or anything, so it's not too bad. Okay, Hungarian folks, I'm going to have one more go at this. Pinsesh.
Ooh, Martin Barner there into the back of Ben Superneck.
And lucky to get away with it, fair saying. Also the Alphas here. Sylvester. Oh, get this, right? Saboslai. Is that correct? There's no sh, it's Saboslai. Sylvester Saboslai, he's in P15 still. You know, I fancy him for more points here. If those two keep on hitting each other, Rob, why not? There's still 30 minutes left of this race. It's David Naj, David Naj now going for P7 over the top of Juan Manuel Gomez. Going to try and go around the outside.
They were
Still
trying to squeeze each other there. Not squeezing Gomez on the inside, and then Gomez straight gave it back.
Oh, well defended.
Nice driving from Gomez.
Very nicely done. But David Naj is eager. You can see P6, and again, it is just damage limitation at this point for David Naj. It's clear that he doesn't have the pace advantage that he's had the past couple of rounds. I got a thumbs up in chat. That's excellent. Awesome. I'm glad that we can resolve this. This is the most I've ever interacted with chat in an EWTCR broadcast, I think. For good reason, though. Good reason.
Always very welcome in the chat, and of course we can't monitor them all because we're live at the FIA WTCR page as well. Greetings to all of the FIA WTCR fans. I hope this race is coming close to the real race we had today in the real 3 races. Lots of action here as well. Let's see if Ben's Bunky is getting any closer to Garibaldi.
It is coming in a little bit. It is a little bit closer. He was able to open up to about 1.5 seconds, wasn't he? And so over the course of the last 5-10 minutes or so, he's been able to reel it in by a 6/10. And I think really the biggest benefactor here is Ben's Bunky, because Fiducci, and sorry, I thought we were on board with Fiducci. I'm like, why is there a Honda? Why is there an Audi? The reason why is because we were on board with Juan Manuel Gomez and we were watching David Naj overtaking him. That move has been a lap in the making, and David Naj continues his descent up the order.
Yeah, finally gained another position. He really needs a miracle in the 3rd race, because then the Nordschleife is the next track, and that's another one where the Audi maybe isn't performing quite as well as the Hyundai or the Go does. Almost wide now. I think Gomez is really vulnerable at this stage. And if we got to Leitner behind him, that's 2 drivers that could be faster than him.
Let's see if there's any shuffling on the back straight. There's an exit, it seems, from everyone. Poor old Mark Balashin. You go from the heights of P2 in pre-qualifying, Rob, to the reality of not even point scoring in the races. It's a harsh reality, and Mark Balashin should be commended for getting into the race. Where did that pace come from in pre-qualifying? We do not know, and I'm guessing he's probably wondering where it came from as well.
Hey, he's probably wondering where it went. Running behind Dylan Da Costa, who's having a much better run than in the first race. They're not quite with the battle pack. Ladina in a nice battle with Corentin Ponto.
Great to see Ponto back again. Always a peripheral figure when it comes to the EWTCR, but he always pops up now and again. Always ready to nab a point wherever he can. And Attila Dine, one of these people who we're expecting to see rise through the ranks over the next couple of years, Rob. Still so much time on his hands.
Yeah, this is also probably one of the rounds where maybe could have done a bit more. When you look at the performance from his car. But still, he's got plenty of time to figure it out. Great to see him always qualifying for these races, because it is an open qualifier. You can try it yourself qualifying, and you will notice really early it's not that easy. Very high level, especially on the leaderboards. Lap times always very close. We've seen Norbert Leitner in the last race only get in as a reserve driver. Now he got a podium here. Now he also has to defend against Zoltan Schuti. Schuti up the inside.
Wasn't taking no for an answer, was he? Nikita Wisniewski trying to do cutbacks upon cutbacks. Speaking of, that's a nice one from Zoltan. And unfortunately, that Audi doesn't have as much grunt as the Hyundai next to it. On top of that, it looks like it's hard to see the angle really, but I imagine that Leitner's going to have the slipstream. It's almost going to go 3 wide though. Wisniewski fancies a piece of this. Going to dive down the inside. And eventually he has to pull out, but that is going to be position confirmed for Schuti. And there is Wisniewski. He waited late. And oh my goodness, Norbert Leitner mounting the curbage. And he's lost 2 positions. It might be 3 as well, as here comes Martin Barner. Much better exit down the outside. Surely going to have the overspeed going into turn number 1. Brakes late, as does Leitner, to be fair. And that's well defended by Norbert Leitner, who ushers Barner out to the off-track area. And he's going to remain in P12 for now. As Baldi, well, yep, he has been caught, not just by Banki, but by Fiducci as well. A 3-way scrap for the lead then.
And he lost a lot of time there.
Mistake, maybe?
Yeah, it could have been, because we were keeping an eye on the gap, and it was coming down a little bit, but not that much. And yeah, big surprise. 7 minutes still on the clock, and Baldi looked like a pretty safe race for him. He's now under pressure by 2 Lincoln Co, and Fiducci didn't attack Benz Banki at all. So he was playing it safe. He was playing the long game. He was waiting for an opportunity. Maybe take the race victory.
Anyone else having deja vu? You gotta wonder where the Gergo is. Better part of 7 minutes left on the clock. To get himself safely to the end in P1.
Look at Hasse. He can't keep up with Fiducci.
Yeah. He's kind of in a world of his own. He's under more pressure from Adam behind than ever thinking of attacking ahead.
Baldi now just did the same that Banki did on him on the first race.
All's fair in love and fighting. And Banki, with a late braking maneuver, this is exactly the same process that he went through in race number 1. Ooh, and a slow exit from Gergo Baldi. Was that tactical, or was that just a little mistake? I would imagine, Rob, it was potentially the previous one, just to check Banki up to make sure that he didn't get a good run.
And what I just noticed is that Baldi is taking this anti-cut between the wheels. The anti-cut that broke the suspension from Leandro Verle, so he's taking a very risky line actually in the last corner. Always gains a little bit of time there.
So 6/10 covering the top 3 behind. We're just going to stick with Pinchess for now. Pinchess?
Oh, the Cupra. The Cupra in P5.
Adam's in P5. You've then got this massive conglomerate of cars from Antonov really all the way down to, I want to say, Fragotto, maybe including Schuti as well down there in P11. It's kind of a group of 4, then followed by another couple of groups of 2.
Fragotto sending it.
Fragotto! Sent it. Oh, it clipped! You know what? That clipping has just gained him another position. Would you believe that? Wonderful car control from Gustavo Fragotto, clipped by Gomez, which ultimately launched him into a move past Naj. Incredible stuff.
Naj won't be happy with that. Sending it straight back around the inside, squeezing Fragotto here.
Off the track, sure. Still off the track. Oh, and they're rubbing together. Paint exchanged. David Naj around the outside of 14. He's going to be on the inside of 15. And there's contact between himself and Fragotto, who shuffled back down to P9. 2 wrongs doth not make a right, Rob.
Let's just see the hairpin here between the two leaders, and then we jump back to this battle. Bunky once again trying around the outside. No way through yet. Bonus now trying around the outside of David Notch. Ricotta waiting there in the background. Also no change of position there. So let's see now, Bunky. Can he take the victory? 2 more laps left.
It is such an interesting line through turn 16 that Baldy's taking. He is effectively just... The line varies from lap to lap, but the basic premise is this. Whatever gets in the way of Ben Spunky. The optimum line has been thrown out the window at this point. And you've got to say, the 2018 online champion driving with great experience, Rob. I mean, of course, Baldy's got plenty of experience himself, having been in this championship from the beginning, much like Banky. I don't know. To me, it feels more like Banky's just got a specific set of tools that he's ready to unleash upon Baldy, and he's almost like luring him, not into a false sense of security, but into almost like an overactive sense of security. When is he going to launch the move? How many times do I have to go defensive? Do I have to compromise this line? Do I have to go slightly slower here? So many questions going through the mind, which is the least that you want, especially when you're driving a car at such speed.
And it's really been a game changer, I think, the first race. I think psychologically we've seen Iago Baldi having the upper hand quite a few times in the past. Now it went to Bunky. And there you can see Baldi doing the same tactic that Bunky did in the first race.
That was actually as good an exit as Baldi could have had. Although Bunky, I thought he was going to launch it down the inside. But wisely he decided not to. There just wasn't enough overspeed. As Naj continues to defend off Gomez. And Fragotto is going to lose the position to Nikodem Wisniewski now.
Battles throughout the field, but we have arrived at the final lap here. Iago Baldi.
At least he's on the final lap in the lead this time. Well, this time, last race, of course, it was Ben Spunky already in the lead. And it just seems like he's picked up a little bit more pace from somewhere. But that was a little mistake, actually, going into the hairpin. He drifted a little too wide, which has allowed Banky a little bit more chance to come back in. Again, that's a better line from Banky. There's just no chance to overtake, really. Not unless you've got a mistake ahead of you to capitalize on. Gergo Baldi, down the corkscrew we go.
It's not a good line from him there.
No. And as we ascend back up the hill, you wonder whether Ben Spunky's going to see an opportunity here. As we head into turn 12. And the answer is no. It's a weird one, that, isn't it? Where you really do have to be fully alongside someone to have a safe chance of launching it. Oh, Gustavo. Drive-through penalty for ignoring drops.
Bunky's
slow
going
down
for it.
warnings as Bunky's going for it up the inside of 15. Oh, what a move. What a move, and Fiducci has got the best line out of all three of them. Could this be Gustavo? Could this be Gianmarco Fiducci's race to win? He's locked up in the slipstream. Baldy's down to third, and now for Fiducci down to not down to P16, down to turn 16. Can he pull the cape off the hook here as super defensive goes best in contact between the two? Oh my goodness me. And I think Fiducci's going to get away with it, maybe. But Ben Spunky, again, he has pulled the wool over Gergo Baldi, and this time it's even better because not only is he P1, but Fiducci's P2. Gergo Baldi has to settle for P3, and if that didn't put a frown on his face, I don't know what will. Pinsesh P5, Hassa
Pinsesh P4, he got Hassa at the line.
P4, yes he did, yeah, Hassa P5, I was stumbling over my words. Antonov 6th, Naj 7th, Gomez 8th, Wisniewski 9th, and Fragotto is 10th at the line, but surely a time penalty going to be added to that because of the drive-through that he received in the closing stages.
Yeah, he's already missing in the results here.
There we go. So Shuti P10, Zupanek, Dina, Barna, Puanto, and Saboslai there picking out the final points.
Oh,
Wow.
Man. What a crazy move from Banki, and you could see in the face of Baldi, he's not as calm anymore. He's not that calm anymore. He was not happy with that at all.
He is
more
led,
race to
Rob.
go here, though.
He must be so frustrated. He's led over 90% of the laps today, gotten both pole positions, and he has not won either of the races where Banki has. I mean, that's mind game central right there. That is something that is so hard to quantify, but at the same time, you understand the pure frustration, almost the anger I could feel from him.
Yeah, because Fitucci got through as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 points in between Banki and Baldi now in the standings. I will try to get the standings up as soon as possible. Let's hope they are with us this time.
That's wild.
Yeah, crazy
And
stuff. And the championship is just getting more and more exciting. Not just kind of dropping behind a bit. But P7 in the end, that's a decent recovery.
And it wasn't easy for him either from Banki's perspective. You know, it's not like he had multiple options ahead of him and he could choose whichever one he liked. He just saw the door open and rightfully put his car there. And honestly, again, this further justifies his move to a Lincoln Co car. Because I don't think if he had Honda machinery under his feet there, that he would have been able to pull off such an audacious move. I don't even think that he would have been in the tow for Baldi to even make such a move happen.
It certainly looks like it's paying off for him this season. But we are still only at the halfway mark. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows how it's going to play out at the Nordschleife and then at Zolder. A track that certainly will suit the Honda a lot.
And so to the final practice session then. And a lot on mind of our championship leader. And no doubt a grin on the face of Ben Spanky. You just get the feeling that it's going to be a championship fight between our 2018 and 2019 online champions. I think that David Nage, after a round like this, it's not been terrible, but it's going to need quite the swing in his favour to grab this ground back over the next two events.
Here we've got the point standings.
5 points. Oh my goodness. That was 38 at the start today.
Yeah, and it's 3 wins each. David Notch slightly dropping behind Hasse with a few points, but Figucci and Pinsash are coming close. Oh man. Oh man, James. This is gonna be an exciting race here.
We've already had 2. I'm not sure how much more my heart could take. I mean, surely it can't happen for a 3rd time in a row, can it? Baldi taking pole position and then losing out on the win in the final lap and a half. Surely not. Oh, we're going to find out. Another 8 minutes on the clock. All the drivers rushing out then to make their final impression as we enter Q3. You got to wonder whether this is going to affect Baldi's mentality in qualifying even, Rob. To be fair,
he was so flawless in Quali.
He's only needed 1 lap on both occasions to get himself pole position.
Doesn't quite have clean air here. I think he will go around the outside of Hasse there. And that's Shuti right behind him in the 31. And then the number 10 should be Spanek. Everyone wants the Baldi slipstream. They have all seen the times from the first Quali.
To be fair, ahead of Baldi, there is plenty of room. Next up the road, Kirill Antonov, who's the first out on track. Been a solid round for Antonov, Rob. It's been very anti-Antonov actually, hasn't it? Where we've not really had much to say about him, honestly.
I think one of the Hondas go through there. Wisniewski as well. One of the first ones out. That was Gomez, actually. Everyone wants the slipstream here. It's faster to be in the slipstream, especially the drivers without a teammate, like Wisniewski. They are kind of looking for an opportunity. Oh, they have to watch out when they go over these anti-cuts there. Antonov now waiting as well.
All part of the tactics, all part of the mind games.
It's like, you know, you're watching some animals, you know? Like some, I don't know, some lions or so, just waiting, watching their prey. Just waiting for the moment to pounce. Oh, there's Baldi.
There we go. Yeah. And that's basically given Antonov the hurry up because where's the clean air? Where's the clean air, folks? Have you waited a little bit too long? Baldi clearly seems happy just to be the leader of this pack as everyone shuffles in. We've gone from a pack of lions to a conga line at a party, Rob. Follow the leader, leader, leader.
And look at the gap he already pulled from the final corner there.
And so across the line, Ergo Baldi. 205.0 in Q1. 205.1 in Q2. Really, if you're hitting a 0.0 or a 0.1, that's pretty much a top 4 guarantee. Looking nice and smooth through the first sector at least.
One 699.
That's good. It's a good opening sector.
Yeah, Shooty can stay with him, but no one else can. They all waited for a slipstream that didn't happen in the end.
Yeah. That's going to really hamper their times. I'm worried about Fiducci. Again, we're coming up to this second sector. James Kirk and Robert Wiesenmüller with you, as always. Except last week when I wasn't here and Lewis was, but that's okay. Got to check up on my facts. So it's what, 127.6.7-ish that we're looking for here in 2. Let's have a little look as they cross. It's 27.594. That's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good from Gergo Baldi.
Yeah, the first one to set a time again. Solid time once again. Ahead of Leitner.
It's currently a 10th and a half
finally
up on
David
Naj.
Notch.
Yeah, there's the time that we were expecting. But the question is, how close is everyone still going to be, Rob? Because with times as close as they are in the EWTCR, you see there, Juan Manuel Gomez only 600ths off. Gergo Baldi there, he's looking for 3 pole positions out of 3, repeating his Ungaro ring feat. And Robbie's there, a 2:04.9.
Just corrected the 2:05.0 in the end.
2:05.0, yeah. That's still his fastest time.
That is a superb lap time. Let's see what Bunky can do. Bunky only P5.
Hello. And Fiducci P4 ahead of him.
I think they're working together there, Lincoln co-drivers. But that's behind Gomez, that's behind Notch especially. That's not good news.
Antonov with a disappointing lap down in P17, currently slowest of those who have set a lap. Everyone else gets one more bite of the cherry, but Baldi does believe that that is enough, and certainly if you look at the times from every qualifying session so far, that has been enough, Rob.
Yeah, that really should be enough. Who knows?
Plenty of thrills and spills in the WTCR, and whenever you get too comfortable and when you think there's no surprise around the corner, there is always one waiting. 31.774 for Fiducci first second. That is a 10th or so.
Understeer and lap invalid.
It would have been a 10th off anyway through the first sector. Not that that's the sector where you gain the most, but to lose a 10th already, it's probably putting you out of the pole position picture. What about Benz Bunky ahead? How much closer is he to Baldi? that's a poor first sector, mind. And that's an even rougher second sector. Benz Banki might be doing P5 here at best.
Antonov and Fiducci.
Oh! And Antonov was hit there by the Hyundai behind.
That was
And
not
that's
Fiducci, of course. That was Frigotto.
Yeah, and that was his fast lap. That was going to shoot him right up the order. And Antonov's going to be starting right to the back.
One more case for the stewards for sure. Frigotto up to P7. Meanwhile, Florian Hasse up to P2.
Hello. Great effort from the Honda driver. Separates the two Mira drivers. Better lap from Princess. Up to P7. And Sylvester Szoboszlai up to P15. It's been surprising to see actually Balint over the course of today being the weaker driver. What about Nikitin Wisniewski? He's not qualified inside the top 10 this entire round, and he's not going to do it again. P12.
Not happy with that. You can see it. He will get a fresh Audi for the next race.
But that is it then. So Baldi with 3 pole positions out of 3. Hassan, Naj, Gomez, Fiducci, and Banki, your front 3 rows. Well, good news for Baldi. Banki isn't starting P2.
A great qualifying result actually for Baldi, except that Hasse got into the front row at the very last moment.
Yeah. And Naj's race pace has been not much to shout home about either. But it's good that he's in a good starting position at least, Rob. And even if he's not going to be overtaking, at least he can still be a presence at the front. And just when we thought that the championship might be swinging heavily in favour of Benz Banki, all of a sudden in one qualifying session, things look a lot rosier for our championship leader once again.
I'm looking forward to see how Banki will approach this race, because now he really has to gain quite a few positions.
You can't just wait 20 minutes and then do an overtake and win the race, which is effectively what he's done the past couple of times. I know that in race 2 he had a decent move on, or a decent start against Fiducci. But let's see how things pan out then. Race number 3, the final one of today. 2 minutes for the final time on the clock. Motorland Aragon, Let's get into it, shall we? Race number 3, off and away. Naj on the outside, who seems to have had a much better start than Florian Hasse, immediately challenging around the outside. Very Banki on Fiducci-esque from race number 2. And this is the perfect getaway then for Gogo Baldi. It's great to have somebody fighting away already in P2, but even better if it was his stable mate. But great fight back from Hasse, who remains in P2. Further down the order, Benz Banki's not made any progress up the order. Wisniewski stayed in P12. Sylvester Szoboszlai's had a poor start down to P18 by the looks of it. But everyone pretty much status quo, except here P3 as Fiducci launches it up the inside of David Naj and takes P3.
I was not expecting that at all. I was trying to go for the big battle in the midfield there with the cameras. Not sliding.
What a... car control, but ultimately lack of control on the exit means that Fiducci does confirm that P3. Punchy stuff from Gianmarco, who's determined to make positions up, not down in the opening stages. Let's see just how much grunt that Lincoln Co has on the back straight as Baldi looks to continue to open up the gap. Here we are then. On the exit of turn 15, down a long run towards 16. He'll be able to pick up a bit of slipstream from Hasse ahead as well, I am sure. And behind it seems pretty status quo, although look at Ben Zupanek there. Or is it Ben Zupanek? My apologies. Yeah, no, it is Ben Zupanek looking to go down the inside of the Honda of Leandro Verla. Lovely move there from Ben Zupanek up to P8.
And he also gaining a position against Gomez.
Yeah, but Gomez still going to be a you know.
And there you can see it. Banki and Fiducci are definitely working together.
Yeah.
Because Fiducci is giving Banki a slipstream.
And Banki is through. up to P5. Gomez still ahead of Pinsesh. But crucially, Rob, at the end of lap 1, Baldi leading from Hasse by about roughly a second or so.
And Roberto this time, again over the curb with a moment. Just to answer a question from the chat, no, there are no points for the qualifying session here in the Esports WTCR. So Baldi's performance in the qualifying, it doesn't help him so much, but of course he gets a good race position, and Gomez runs wide. He was trying to get back on Bunky, but it didn't quite work.
Just a little bit too much exuberance into the corner. Thankfully it didn't harm him too much. Juan Manuel Gomez, it's a very consistent round, a very strong round, maybe without the podium that he was hoping of. Still time in this race to gain. Behind you have Pinches, Zupanek, Verla and Fragotto, who is under investigation qualifying for that incident with Antonov. He's already had a drive-through penalty for ignoring slowdown warnings in race 2, and race 1 was all about what could have been and what actually ended up happening. Very much the opposite, Juan Manuel Gomez, in that anything that could be consistent has been inconsistent. The only consistency in Gogo Baldi's life so far, Rob, has been pole position and then losing out at the last. I'm sure it's very thankful as Verla's lost it completely, and it's a massive incident which collects ahead. I think that was Ben Zupanek there who went completely round. A huge smoke screen. Zupanek did so well to hold on to that car. Almost a full 180. He's back there in P8. Who's gained the most there? Would you believe it? It's Fragotto. He's up in P6.
Yeah, Pinsesh also lost some ground there. He was hit by the Audi, but of course the Audi couldn't do anything about it. Yeah, they're just completely losing it under braking.
This is our scenario. Maybe the suspension from race 2 still not fixed completely, Rob. And I know that's a lie. I know that, of course, they get a fresh car for every session, but it certainly looked like it. That was just a bizarre way to lose the car in a front-wheel drive as well. So strange. Almost as if the brake bias was a little out of whack.
Where is Benz Bunky?
12th.
Why is Benz Bunky in 12th?
Rob, this is a question that you ask to which I do not have the answer. Why is Benz Bunky in 12th? Was he caught up in that incident?
I'll try to figure that out. In the meantime, we can still watch the great battle here with Zupanek.
Because he was just ahead of Gomez, wasn't he? And they were just ahead of that incident as it developed. So as Zupanek spun, it's very possible that he also caught Bunky.
Yeah,
then
I just saw
spun out himself.
Bunky was caught there.
He was.
It looked like.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so unlucky. He was caught actually by Pinsesh, but Pinsesh got hit by Zupanek, and Zupanek got hit by Verle, of course. So it was not Pinchesh's fault at all. But that's what dropped Bunky down to P12.
And it was very much the camera and it all happening so fast, we just couldn't catch it in time. And Baldi's going to be smiling a little bit more perhaps now. Oh, as well, Shooty, that was optimistic. Expecting a lot of the brakes.
The entry
and the
was
brakes
also
did not
optimistic.
cooperate. No, it wasn't. He's lucky that he didn't catch anyone there. Adam Pinches already has had enough of a scare from a hit behind. He doesn't want to hit into his door. Although is he gonna keep the place? I think he might actually around the outside. The two of these going side by side now up towards turn 3. And it does look like Shooty is going to hold on. Indeed he is. Ooh, and look at that. Look at Barna up the inside of Wisniewski. Behind this fight, Martin Barna launched his way up into the hairpin. And there's a Liquor Co going for it as well. This is Benz Bunky, desperate to get positions back. Oh, he can't lose his head now, Rob, surely. But he has made up 2 positions, mind, so the risk was worth it.
Past Barna now, Pinsesh ahead, and then Zoltan Schuti, and I think this is a monumental fight ahead. I think the guy he has to hope for now is Florian Hasse at the front of the field.
He is closing on Baldi, would you believe? Play the Jaws theme. What is it with Baldi's race pace? It's like it starts at a peak and then gets worse. And already Baldi feeling the need to go defensive. No, straight, I cannot put my finger on it. Behind as well, look at Fiducci challenging for the podium. He's been able to distract David Noj enough that both of these guys really have fallen off the back of Hasse. And so really a couple of stories now developing. The battle for the lead, the battle for third. And how much damage control can Benz Banki put on this situation? Pretty much losing all of the ground that he gained over the last couple of races, Rob. As things stand, of course.
Yeah, but this is really a nightmare scenario for Benz Banki. Currently sitting in P10 in this race, so that would give him only 6 points. Championship would be up to 24 points again.
Only 2 rounds left, 6 races left. Score points, anything. Every single one of these points is going to count. I don't really need to tell all of you that. I'm sure you're all smart enough to figure it out, but 5-round championship, you know, you come here week in, week out. Of course, you've got the mid-season break coming up after Motorland Aragon. And it's such a change in mindset, isn't it, Rob? I mean, at the end of today, Benz Banki could have been thinking, oh, wow, I can't believe that I duped Baldi out of 3 wins over the course of today, and I'm now leading the championship. And here he's thinking, no matter how much I did in those first 2 races, it was all for nothing.
Yeah, it really was all for nothing when he finishes like this, but I would say he definitely has a chance to get at least up to I would say maybe up to P5.
And of course, there are the incidents that we cannot predict. Like Leandro Verla locking his brakes and spinning. Like perhaps Gianmarco Fiducci making a move? No, I am honestly shocked that he didn't go for a stab there, Rob. It looked like he had enough momentum behind him.
Yeah, he's driving pretty calm today, and it's paying off so far. Take plenty of points. He's in the battle with the likes of Hasse, Vincesh, Antonov as well. That's when it comes to the championship, so P4 would be very valuable there. Was Hasse ahead of him this time?
Just a matter of time? Maybe. Just maybe. By the way, this is highest that Naj has been running for all 3 of this races, honestly. And again, it further cements, Rob, the idea that qualifying isn't necessarily a make or break scenario, but it can severely hinder you or help you. If it wasn't for that front couple of row starts for David Naj, he started in P3, he's still going to be P3. The other yellow Audi in strife perhaps, as he's under pressure from Adam Pinches, who, this is Benz Banki now, surely. He caught him out there, did Benz, and that was really nicely done. Very nicely done. That is P9.
See if more is possible against Schuti. I think it will be even harder. Schuti, of course, part of the Mira Esports stable. Same team that Jago Baldi is also on. He's got a nice grab. Leitner behind Attila Dina and then Corentin Ponto in the Alpha. Alpha did really well here in the FAA WTCR, but the esports version of the car always lacking that little bit of top speed. One car that isn't lacking the top speed, that's the Lincoln Co. of Gianmarco Fiducci.
Again, it's close. Close, but really not close enough. 12.5 minutes left. Behind this. Ooh, this is happening. Well timed. Nikodem Wisniewski trying to pile more pressure onto the Hungarian. Adam Pinches, who remains in the top 10 for now. And here, the final points paying position. Great to see an Alpha running in the points again. Of course, no Moritz Lerner to fly the flag. So Pointeau, the lead of these drivers. Ahead of him, Dine and Leitner. That podium very much seeming more and more like a flash in the pan moment. And Martin Barner up ahead. Shout out to Kirill Antonov, by the way, starting right near the back. Made his way up to P16. Good effort from the Russian, and points in sight now. You can see that he's closing.
Also closing is Florian Hasse. Do we see a repeat from the Slovakia ring? Can he get the third race victory once again?
I think even if the worst comes to worst for Gogobaldi, even if he loses this race to Florian Hasse, it's better than losing it to Benz Banki. He's gaining so many points on Banki as we speak anyway, regardless of whether he's P1 or P2. And Antonov's into P15, by the way. Wow, that was a quick change.
Looks like it was staged for Pato.
But yeah, I think it was. I really do. And so Kirill Antonov from the back of the field into the points. Very nicely done from the Russian. Here's the other Alpha of Sylvester Savoslai, making his way up into P17.
Going past Dylan Da Costa. His brother Barnett is right in behind in the Hyundai. And Fiducci is pretty close again from him, but it looks like a move from Frigotto. Side by side. Boom says the inside now.
There's already a lot going on in that head of Gustavo Frigotto. I imagine that this might be his last chance in a little while to score some excellent points. Juan Manuel Gomez will be quite happy to deny him that. P5. You see there the train behind him, Zupanek, Schutte and Banki as well. I think I'm going to concur with your conclusion from earlier, Rob. P5 probably going to be, unless the absurd happens, the pinnacle of Banki's efforts for today in race number 3. There's a big if. He needs to get some moves done and dusted now on the two Audis ahead.
Yeah. Maybe he can also wait just a little moment until Zupanek has caught the back of Frigotto. I think there's the most potential for craziness then, when they're all fighting together, all these 5 drivers. I'm not sure if he can pick them up one by one. Might be running out of time there. But if they are fighting with each other there, then everything is possible.
Better part of 9 minutes left. Leitner remains in P13. Attila Dine keeping him with close company. And watch out for Antonov as well. Quite content to continue his rise up the order. Dragging along with him, it should be said, Pointeau and the Szoboszlai brothers.
We lost Da Costa from the race as well, alongside Ottaviani, Balashin and Wittvogt. All retirements. Once again Frigotto, not Frigotto, Fiducci of course. He's close to David Notch, but he's not going for the move. However, Zupanek is. And that breaks this battle. That allows Gomes to run away at the front.
He'll take that. He will take that. But he can't afford to get complacent. He's got to put in some good laps now to make hay while the sun shines. And to make haste while the sun shines as well. On board with Frigotto. Looking back at Bent Zupanek. Another decent race for the Hungarian. his stablemate Schutte in close pursuit. And there is Ben Spanky lying in wait to capitalise on whatever might fall his way. Always looks 10 times more terrifying with that rear bumper cam. It's definitely one of my favourites.
Spanky's going for it around the outside.
Oh my goodness, if he pulls this off. Oh, if he pulls this off, he's not taking no for an answer, is he? Lovely stuff. Bold, brash, buccaneering. Wonderful from Ben Spanky.
Schutte tried to squeeze in there, but it didn't work.
It's one down. Ideally 3 more to go. Running out of laps, of course. Maybe 3 more after this one. Onto the back straight, you can definitely see that the exit from Banky just so much better. And exits are probably what Hasser's going to be thinking about here. How do I get a better exit? How can I put more pressure on Gergo Baldi? Just 12 months ago, Banky was in this situation, Rob. A Honda versus a Hyundai, and he couldn't get the job done.
What a move from Superneck here against Frigotto.
Yeah. Hardly any space. I mean, they ran over space as well. But this is exactly the sort of thing that Ben Spanky was hoping for. The move wasn't completed. And now Banky's just going to say thank you very much for your mistake there, Bents. Or, yeah, it is a fellow Bent. It's Bents on Bents bunting. And he's through into P7.
Nice stuff there. I think he can get past Frigotto as well.
That's the line. Frigotto is defended very hard, to be honest. You can see there Juan Manuel Gomez now putting a nice gap on the Brazilian. So even if Banky does get past Frigotto in the next lap or so, there is some work to do to catch up to Juan's position.
And at the moment he's still vulnerable to the 2 Mira Esport Audis. He goes for a move that isn't really thought out. He might as well lose the positions again that he just gained.
Is there any sniff of an attack from Zupanek? Not on this occasion.
And Serge was trying to go as close as possible to the back of Schutte there.
Just letting know he's there. Nothing.
Oh, I think Antonov is dropping back.
You say dropping back, he's positively dropped out the points, Rob. It must have been a mistake or contact with someone.
A little off-track excursion there. Let's see here now if there are any moves, because we only have 2 more laps left after this one. No move at the front. Here could be a move. Banky against Frigotto. Banky on the outside.
And he's done this one for the lead. He knows how it works, but Frigotto doesn't know how Banky works that much. And he's going to cut off his nose, make sure that he stays in P6. A flash of the lights from Ben Spanky as he lets his intentions be known well and truly. The outside Ben Spanky, with no cigar for Ben Spanky.
I think he will try to get up the inside here. Not quite close enough.
Otto a little bit all over the place, and he had a sniff there. Here we go. Maybe a dive into turn 7.
Oh, Pinsesh in the background.
Pinsesh, yeah. Pinsesh went for it. He went for the move I was expecting from Banky. And that's a position gained on Zoltan Schutte.
And Baldi now also under big pressure from Hasse, so we have to keep our eyes on this battle as well.
Surely it's not going to happen again. Surely not. We would have been expecting the challenge from this man usually. But it's not the Hyundai of Baldi ahead this time, it's the Hyundai of Frigotto.
Let's see the rundown to the hairpin. Actually, let's watch the next corner here, because we've seen Bunky trying moves here. Not this time, though. Let's see the hairpin on board with Garibaldi.
That's a closes. But again, that Honda just does not pick up enough slipstream. He gets close enough to give a little kiss to the rear bumper, and that's all about she wrote, Rob.
Bunky on the
Behind.
outside. This looks good.
This looks much better, doesn't it?
But again!
There's a lot of understeer through that corner.
Yeah, and he's cautious as well.
That's what's allowing Frigotto to remain. So, is this final lap? This must be
is the
final lap,
lap,
we're on. Yeah. It's basically P6 or bust as far as Ben Spunky's concerned. P5 now the question, and Zupanek's going to fancy an opportunity or a half here as well. Maybe a late twist in the tail, but Gogo Baldi certainly wouldn't be complaining if Banky were to lose a position again.
And that Baldi might lose a position himself.
Yeah.
Has this all over the back of him. Now this is for the race victory, of course.
He's been there or thereabouts, Rob, for the last 20 minutes. Then again, that's what we said of Ben Spunky as Frigotto goes wide, and that could be the opportunity that Ben Spunky is looking for, but no, late on the brakes, Gustavo Frigotto.
Oh, Bunky's
he's going to
wide
go
as well.
so deep. Oh, and he's pushed Frigotto out the way. Oh, dearie me, Ben Spunky. That feels like a report incoming, and not to say that Frigotto hasn't had his fair share of bad voodoo going his way as well. He's been in some incidents himself, but you gotta feel for him. Both of them went wide, and Banky's the only one that's benefited.
Let's see now who will win the race. Is Baldi finally going to do it? Oh, he makes a mistake there.
Oh my goodness me. Well, now we'll see just how underpowered the Honda is on the straight. A far cry from when we saw the Hondas of 2017 blitzing past people in the straight line.
It's not looking so bad.
It's a rough exit from Baldi. Is it going to get punished? He now moves to the inside. He left it very late. Florian Hasser to the outside. Surely not for the third time of asking. It's later on the brakes from Gergo Baldi. And ultimately, Hasser did not have the cojones. Neither did Fiducci. In fact, he maybe had too many cojones, Fiducci. He broke way too late for the scene. Gergo Baldi, a sigh of relief. For the third time of asking from pole position, he finally gets his win in Aragon ahead of Florian Hasser, who kept him so honest to the end. Naj with a podium, Fiducci fourth, Gomez fifth, Bunky with P6, effectively almost writing off all of the work that he put in over the first couple of races. Zupanek, Frigotto, Schutte, and Barner rounding out the P10. Worth noting as well that Banky may yet be brought up for an incident which saw him punting off Frigotto, who himself has many an incident, not just in the races, to atone for. Wisniewski, Leitner, Dina, Pinsesh, who lost a lot of positions there on the final lap, and Corentin Pointeau round out your point scorers.
What a crazy race. Twists and turns, and finally Gergo Baldi, finally he takes the victory that he's been looking for the entire event. Florian Hasser once again strong in the third and final race, and David Notch finally on the podium here. What a round it was, and what a nice addition to the championship the circuit is.
Can we go here every year? Please. Amazing stuff. And, well, it's a good thing, really, that it was such an intense round, because now we can all relax for a few weeks, Rob. It's a few weeks break before we return with the second half of our calendar, the Nordschleife and Circuit Zolder for the first time in EWTCR coming up at the end of November.
Yeah, still plenty of races to look forward to, and I think we will see a couple of the WTCR drivers starting once again in this championship then. For example, Mikel Ascona has already said that he's interested in running one of the races. That could make it even more interesting. Just need a little moment to get the points up to date here. And yeah, maybe, James, you can talk about who's your man of the race.
Man of the race? Oh my goodness.
man of the round rather in quite a few races. So.
Well, it's hard to go beyond Gergo Boldi, honestly. I mean, despite the fact that he lost out in race 1 or race 2, that's another round where he's picked up every single pole position on offer. He eventually did get that win as well. And in the context of things, you look at Banky's record today and it's win-win 6th, whereas Boldi's picked up second, first. And this is exactly why he's a threat in the championship. It's not just about the high results that he's achieving, but it's the terrifying consistency at which he gets them with. And if it wasn't for Banky getting incredibly creative with his moves on the final lap and a half of race 1 and 2, we could be talking about an absolute picture of domination from the Hungarian. And there it is, confirmation, 20 points out ahead once again.
Yes, but Banky came a little bit closer this round overall, I think.
Yes.
Just a tiny bit. Remains interesting. David Notch lost a lot of valuable ground in the championship fight. He's looking like he's on course for P3, and then the battle for P4. Hasse, Fiduci, Pinsesh also lost a lot of ground, but look how close it is. For P10, the last position that still pays out prize money. Sniewski, Bana, and Supernek tied on points.
Whew. Take a breath, folks. Take a breath, and let's enjoy the rest of this evening. It's been a crazy year, and take it from someone who is going back into lockdown for another month. It does seem like it's never going to end, but if there's one thing which I don't want to end this year, it's EWTCR action. Every single week it delivers. Motorland Aragon really establishing itself as a circuit that I think both you and I, Rob, we'll hope to see on the calendar for many years yet to come. We also hope to see you guys out there for many years to come as well. Thank you so much for your comments, for your feedback, for your company here today. We adore all of you. We're glad you invest so much of your time in this championship, and we look forward to reuniting with you in 3 weeks when we return in Germany at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. It's going to be a fantastic event, as it always is there. 22nd of November, that's the date to note down in your calendars. But from now, today, on the 1st, from Rob and myself, it's a very warm goodbye.